Hi all and adab. I am Dr. Mantasha binti Rashid and today we are at Dr. Nirja Matu's house. हम इनके घर पे आए हैं उनसे बात करने के लिए, उनसे गुफ्तगू करने के लिए about her life, her struggles, her achievements. She is a very eminent figure in the literary and educational realms of Kashmir. जो एक ट्रांसलेटर है, राइटर हैं, उनकी 6 किताबें जो हैं पब्लिश हो चुकी हैं एंड दे वेरी फ्रॉम शॉर्ट स्टोरीज टू पोएट्री ट्रांसलेशंस. आज हम उनसे दिल खोल के बात करेंगे, उनकी बात सुनेंगे एंड उनके ज़रिए हम जानेंगे कि कश्मीर 1930 से लेकर आज 2024 तक कितना बदला है और कैसे कैसे बदला है. So we have with us today an eminent teacher, writer, translator who has taught in Kashmir for over 3 decades, and she was posted as head of the department in Women's College in Lal Chowk, and then she retired as principal of the same college. Madam Nirja Matu, आदाब. आपका बहुत बहुत खैर मकदम.
आपका भी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आने के लिए एंड आई विश यू ऑल द बेस्ट.
थैंक यू वेरी मच. अभी जैसे हम इस बातचीत से पहले आपस में गुफ्तगू कर रहे थे एंड वी रियलाइज्ड कि कितना आपने यहाँ पढ़ाया है, कितना वक्त बिताया है, ये आपका घर है एंड यू वर सेइंग कि कोविड के बाद आप विंटर में भी अब कहीं नहीं जाते हैं, सो यू आर हियर. सो टेल अस, हाउ हैव यू सीन कश्मीर चेंजिंग from 1930s when you were born to now 2024? Give us an idea of what has happened in terms of your surroundings, the sociology, the life of Kashmir.
You see, it's unbelievable. There is no comparison between what we were in 1930s and what we became up to, let's say, 80s. And now after 80s, at the end of 80s, what is happening now? You see, from the day that we were born, we lived in a very optimistic world. We thought things would only get better, and they were getting better. And for women, particularly in Kashmir, the floodgates had been thrown open. They could do anything. Because you see, even the ones who had become primary school teachers for economic reasons, but didn't have much qualification, had only passed a matriculation.
Right.
When we got independence after 47, and when the college was established in 1950, these ladies who came from rather socially deprived classes also were persuaded to come and join college, improve their qualification, and the government gave them leave from the schools where they were working, fully paid leave for 2-4 years till they would graduate and go back to teaching.
Wow.
So this is the kind of world in which we lived, where we thought anything is possible for women. And the kind of dynamic administrators we had at that time. They made us believe that things would go on becoming better and better every day. And we were not disappointed.
Right.
Today, when I see the condition of Kashmiri women, I feel that we were much more free,
liberated.
Not only liberated, free, but much more confident about our own future. We thought the sky was the limit. Because if you attended college and with you see these science subjects,
right,
you could straight away go to any college in India. Government would support you, give you loan or scholarship. And then in my own class of 1954, when we passed the intermediate, 10 girls, 4 Kashmiri Pandits and 3 Punjabi girls from outside and 3 Kashmiri Muslim girls went for MBBS to outside Kashmir.
Right.
Some went to Amritsar, some went to Gwalior, some went to Delhi, some went to Patna. And all of them qualified as doctors, came back to serve in this thing.
Wonderful.
And there was no problem about getting admission in a professional college. Because aspirants were few, and the government was extremely supportive. They would either give scholarship or give them loan, interest-free loan, and the only condition was that they should come back and serve state itself.
Right.
And you said another thing is that it was completely, it was a kind of a syncretic kind of a world in which we lived. There were all sorts of girls in the college when I
lot of
joined.
diversity.
Absolutely. Punjabi girls, mostly they were, in fact, in 1952, when I joined the college, there were nearly 50% Punjabi girls. And then there were Kashmiri Muslims, and then there were Kashmiri Pandits. A large majority of students were Kashmiri Pandits at that time. Muslims were less.
And then we also had some Afghani girls.
Yes, some Afghani girls, and later on
there is a picture here in which we have all the
a
students.
Pathan girl.
There's a Pathan girl, there is a Kashmiri Christian girl, there's a Sikh girl.
There's the two Kashmiri Pandit girls and then Kashmiri Muslim girls.
So this is Government College for Women Executive Committee Students Union,
It was
1955-56.
And we had a students' union. Will you believe it? Where the representatives were elected by students themselves.
Right.
With no interference from the government principal or the staff. You represented your class, and then you had the executive council, in which there was a students' president. And about the students' president business, I'll tell you something interesting.
Right.
That it was a completely free and fair election through ballot. And most of the time, the girls would select someone who was academically very proficient or who had taken part in other activities like theatre, drama, sports, music. But at one time when I was teaching, the girls chose an Assamese girl as the students' president. Because her father was posted here. She was in the college for 3 years of graduation.
And she was very active.
She was very active. She was very smart. And the girls, instead of feeling jealous or anything, fully supported her. And can you imagine, in a free and fair election, she was elected president.
That is wonderful.
Still inspiring kind of emancipated person. And she, in fact, wrote a book about her life, which was titled, I think, From Chilman to Chaman.
Chilman to Chaman.
In Urdu, she wrote it. It was a life story. I think it's been translated into English also. So, and she was fully appreciative that, yes, Arundhati deserves to be the president. Not a hint of any communal bias or anything in anyone.
There was no regionalism,
nothing like that. There was no thing कि हम कश्मीरी हैं तो हम बाहर वाले को नहीं आने देंगे.
Right.
जब वही कहता उन्होंने बनी Assamese girl.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल एक open mindedness थी, एक acceptance थी, एक respect for diversity था.
Diverse और फिर ये पता ही नहीं लगता था ना कॉलेज में कि कुछ बट कुछ मुसलमान कुछ सिख Shakalas, Hishi, Korean.
बिल्कुल. And uniformers लगे.
Uniformers कुनी. वो बट कोरियास न टोक वो की लगा हुआ. फर्क ही असना किए. बिल्कुल. तो वो छुड़ा ये फोटो. हाँ बिल्कुल. कुछ पता नहीं चल रहा. उसका
बिल्कुल. कोई symbol नहीं है, कोई religious, कोई community symbol नहीं है.
कुछ भी नहीं. Context में मैंने बताया कि interesting का था. I'm sort of skipping over the years.
जी.
But I think this is a story that has to be told.
Please.
That in 1989, when things were already falling apart, let us call them. And then some leaflets were thrown into the college. And the leaflets said कि हमारी अपनी बहनों से मौदबाना गुजारिश है कि वो पर्दा करें. और जो हमारी कश्मीरी पंडित बहनें हैं वो टीका लगाएं ताकि उनको कोई तकलीफ न हो. तो आपको पता है, when the leaflet was picked up by the girls in my class, they said, Madam, कल से हम भी टीका लगाएंगे. They were not afraid of this dictum. But when the gun came, they had no choice.
Right.
So you can imagine what it feels for a person like me, what it feels to see how dramatically and how tragically things went down. From a kind of a celebration of diversity, how we became a monocultural kind of a thing.
Right. कहीं ना कहीं it was a loss for generations ahead, which included my generation.
Imagine, I can tell you one instance. One day during those peak militancies, when sometimes we were asked to observe blackouts or whatever, those days there used to be only these landlines. My phone rang and I picked it up. And here was a girl speaking to me. I said, कौन बोल रहे हैं? कहा आप कहने लगी जी मैं बात करना चाहती हूँ. मैंने कहा बताइए क्या बात है. नहीं जी, मैं किसी से भी बात करना चाहती हूँ। मैं इतने दिनों से घर के अंदर बंद हूँ, बाहर नहीं निकल सकती हूँ, मेरा दम घुट रहा है। मैंने ऐसे ही रैंडम नंबर मिलाया कि कोई भी हो तो मैं बात करूँ।
ऐसे हालात हो गए यहाँ पर, राइट?
So you can imagine what I must have felt. I said, "You're welcome. You can talk anytime you like."
Right.
She did a few times. I don't know who she was or what happened to her later on. I'm just giving you an instance of how things changed.
Definitely, what happened in the past 2-3 decades in Kashmir has had consequences for all of us,
But you
politically,
see,
socially, culturally.
in every way.
No realm of life was untouched by whatever
at all.
happened.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Not only physical danger, but all kinds of pressures.
Absolutely.
And the
absolutely.
worst sufferers were the women.
Certainly, there's no doubt about that. If I may talk about your British Council's fellowship to Oxford in 1984.
Yes.
So tell us about how it was going to Oxford at that time. Although you came from an educated background, your father, like you said earlier,
Yes.
was a professor in English,
Yes.
and your brothers were also highly educated.
Yes, they were.
It may not have been like you were the first person to go abroad, but how was it as a woman to go abroad, and how was England at that time?
Oh, it was beautiful. I
Yeah.
loved it. And for us, you see, England didn't seem like a foreign country. It's not like when you go to America and everything is different.
Right.
Because we are so familiar with the landscape through the literature we have read, through the poetry, through the novels, through everything. And it's a much more compact kind of a place.
Right.
But the first thing I noticed was that you couldn't see too many white people walking on the street. Most people are brown already.
And that is 1984.
84. But another thing interesting was when I went to Oxford, I had to join the library. That's the world famous old ancient Bodleian library.
Right.
And the first thing they do when you go there with your credentials, they ask you to take an oath. And you have to take an oath to say that you will not damage any book. You will not carry a fountain pen with you, only a pencil, and also you will not make any noise. You should walk with heels, leave the heels out and walk barefoot. And then this person told me, which is your language, because we have this oath in all languages. I said, I'm sorry, I don't think you will have it in my language. He said, no, certainly we'll have. I said, do you have it in Kashmiri?
Kashmiri.
Said, sorry, naturally they didn't have.
Right.
But they said, madam, before you leave, you must write it for us in Kashmiri. So that when other Kashmiris come, they can take an oath in Kashmiri.
Oath in Kashmiri, interesting.
So that was the most delightful part of England. How easy it was to procure knowledge, how easy it was to access books, how comfortable the surroundings were if you wanted to do serious research.
Right.
And of course, but otherwise, you see, the landscape did seem familiar because we were used to it in this English poetry, and we had the same kind of landscape here.
Right. So there you could find a connection between the two
completely.
places.
It didn't look like a foreign country.
And libraries का अभी भी वैसा ही है. British library में when you go, you have to keep all your books and everything outside.
Of course, outside.
बिल्कुल. Which is interesting. Now I wonder, खैर researchers तो libraries access करते ही हैं, but in general I wonder कि कितने ही youngsters किताबों से इतना जुड़े हैं या पसंद करते हैं, because now with internet, obviously everything has its advantages and disadvantages.
मगर मैं आपको ये बताऊं कि वहां जाकर मेरी पहली फीलिंग ये थी कि यहाँ पे बैठ के रिसर्च करना कितना आसान. मुझे यही लगा. मैंने कहा कमाल है, आप कैटलॉग रूम में गए, आपने उनको नोट लिख दिए कितने क्या क्या किताबें चाहिए, फिर आप अपने क्यूबिकल में बैठिए and the books will be there before you are there. And the books will stay there if you want them to stay. Otherwise you can ask, they can be taken away. Those conveniences we didn't have here. And all the time I used to say, if we had those conveniences, we would have made much more progress in every field.
Certainly. So talking about, you writing an oath in the library in Kashmiri, you are an acclaimed translator. आपकी जो recent book है, The Mystic and the Lyric, जो 2019 में प्रिंट में गई, पब्लिश हुई, और 2019 में उसके बाद 20 में कोविड हुआ, तो पहली दफा जब हमने भी बात की क्लब हाउस के ऊपर थी, वो एक ऑल ऑडियो ऐप आती थी, तो एक शाम को हमने आपसे उसके बारे में गुफ्तगू की कि इस किताब में जो कश्मीरी पोएट्स है, चाहे वो हब्बा खातून है, चाहे ललदेद है या निमाल है, रूपा भवानी है, उनकी जो पोएट्री है वो ट्रांसलेटेड है अंग्रेजी में। आप हमें अपने ट्रांसलेशन का सफर बताइए, यू एज अ ट्रांसलेटर, हाउ डिड इट बिगिन, व्हेन डिड यू थिंक अबाउट ट्रांसलेटिंग, एंड how joyful it has been or hasn't been?
Yes. When I was only a student of MA, हमारे घर my father's neighbor, next door neighbor, who also became a relative because my sister got married to his son.
Okay.
He was Professor Jalal Kaul.
Okay.
He was also a professor of English, but he had done a lot of work for Kashmiri also. He had translated Lal Ded long ago, and he had also translated some Kashmiri lyrics. And then he was like a member of our family, as I told you, next door. So one day he came to me. He said, "Dekho, there are 2 stories which I want translated into English. I don't have time. Do it." I was a student of MA. I said, how will I be able to do it? He said, no, I know you are capable of doing it. He had faith. So it became a little bit of a challenge. So I translated, and I still remember these. These were Amin Kamil's Kokarjang and Akhtar Mahiuddin's Swargahur. So I did it, and they were published in this Sahitya Academy's volume, Contemporary in Indian Stories.
Right.
And I got they sent me a check for 100 rupees each. I thought it was wonderful.
I'm sure.
But
आपकी पहली कमाई।
और मैं बताऊं, अगर एक लिहाज से ट्रांसलेशन से उतनी ही कमाई हुई, बाद में इतनी कमाई
नहीं हुई,
क्योंकि उस वक्त 200 रुपए
जी
in 1958
जी
was quite a significant sum.
बिल्कुल। आपकी ये कट स्टोरीज फ्रॉम कश्मीर और द ग्रेटेस्ट कश्मीरी स्टोरीज एवर टोल्ड और कंटेम्प्रेरी कश्मीरी स्टोरीज, ये मैंने पढ़ी है। इसमें वो दोनों जो आपने स्टोरीज के बारे में मेंशन किया, दे बोथ आर आई बिलीव इंक्लूडेड इन दिस वन। जी, बाद में आपने उनको इसमें इंक्लूड किया है। तो
मुझे
इज इट चैलेंजिंग टू ट्रांसलेट?
In the beginning it was fun. I must tell you, it was fun. I didn't think it was such a serious job.
Right.
Because I must tell you, admit to you, that in our house these 2 languages were spoken simultaneously. Kashmiri and English.
Right.
And I had I knew the 2 languages, but I also had kind of, because of my academic work, began to think in both these languages together. Kashmiri to Thai automatically, but I could think simultaneously in English also. For me, it didn't seem to be a labor. And I thought that, and I would do it spontaneously. If it comes to you, the first sentence, that is usually the right sentence. Because the instinct tells you.
Right.
So, and then when these were published, people liked them, they gave me confidence. But to do poetry, that was something I had not even thought of.
Poetry translations are much.
I had not even thought about it, to tell you the truth. But then I saw some translations of Lal Ded, and I knew Lal Ded because in Kashmiri households, she's quoted at every step.
But not now.
Not it. I'm talking about my time.
Your own time. जी. अब नहीं होता है ना।
मगर तेले ऐसा कैची पर बनान होंड मरतन या काट लाल नडवर्ट चलने ऐसा
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
That was Lal Ded. I thought that this whatever had been done so far was not quite. I mean, I thought in my foolish way that I could probably do a better job. Because it irritated me. As I told you that if you are capable of thinking in 2 languages simultaneously, you instinctively know कि ये ठीक है कि गलत।
बिल्कुल।
ये jarring note strike करता है कि smooth है।
मैंने भी लल देद के कुछ ट्रांसलेशंस ऐसे देखे हैं जिसमें कुछ अपनी चीजें भी ऐड की गई हैं।
वो तो सबसे बुरी बात है ना।
जी।
Because you see, these are people who are, maybe they are more scholarly than I am. Maybe they think that they are more competent than I am.
No, but translation should be a translation. It can't be your own interpretation of
that. Is the pity of it.
Yeah.
People think that they can improve upon the original.
Which really makes it lose its glory.
And it's unfair.
It's not fair, yeah.
Then it's not translation. Then you are writing your own work.
You can work on the poet's work and you can maybe produce a paper on that.
I think, you see, जैसे कहते हैं ना, one of my favorite phrases in English is, fools rush in where angels fear to tread. Because you see, if you are unfortunate, if you know little knowledge, you think you can conquer the world.
Right.
But when you know more, then you become humble.
You become very
And
humble.
humility is something which should be inherent to a translator.
Mm-hmm.
The translator has to tell himself or herself, I cannot do better than what he has done.
Right.
And what the task assigned to me is to interpret him as faithfully as possible, keeping your own ego aside. Because if you have an ego, then write your own poem.
Right.
But unfortunately, people don't really believe that.
I think that's a very, very valuable and very insightful thing to say for any
I'm
translator.
being honest. I cannot improve. See, I saw some people who had translated things which I had translated myself. And I was a bit disappointed, I'll tell you. But I thought maybe I was unfair, maybe I was partial to my own work. But other people also seem to think this so same. People whose judgment I value. Because you see, they say that you are authentic, you are faithful. And a person who knows Kashmiri knows what you mean. Sometimes I do change a phrase. I'll tell you something interesting. There was this author whose book, Hari Kishan Kaul was his name. His story was, I think it was called, I translated it as Mourners. Originally it had some other title, I don't remember. So in the end, when there is a scene in which these people collect together and they cry.
Okay.
And somebody who sees them says, Vadne Diyuk.
Vadne Diyuk.
Yimlatan.
Yimlatan.
So, Nietzsche Kashur, bilkul typical Vadne Diyuk Yimlatan. So, I was a bit unsure how do I
translate
do it. So, I translated it as, let them be. They need a good cry. And the author was so happy. He said, Bharat Takuru Bilkul, this is exactly what I mean.
You're basically staying true to both the languages.
And not only that, but because you can use a phrase which may not mean exactly the same thing in Kashmiri.
Exactly.
But which conveys exactly the same idea. Or another instance, you see, there was one Kashmiri phrase we use, Baktalopun.
Baktalopun.
Baktalopun. So, Kashmiri tat kahani mazos, Baktalopun. But Baktalopun is kya karo? Sonchan suddenly America, lucky dog.
Lucky dog.
And the author liked it. He said this is enriching both because this is exactly what we mean. This fellow is worth nothing, but luck has favored him. So in English, lucky dog is exactly the same thing. Who you might not have expected to do well, suddenly gets this kind of a...
Right, translation has to also fit into that language in which you are translating it. For that, you need to know both the languages.
You need to know, and you need to have read a lot.
You need to have read.
I think one of the most important things is that you should have read a lot. Then you can understand the tone. You can understand the sensitivity of a particular phrase in the context in which it is written. That you cannot comprehend unless you are
well read.
Right. You will not find the right word unless your vocabulary is rich in both the languages.
So what is, if I may ask you, what should Kashmiri people do to bring in Kashmiri back in their day-to-day life?
First of all, they should speak it at home.
Bilkul.
Because you see, the most strange part of the ironical part of it is that parents find their children's Kashmiri subject most difficult to help them with.
Unfortunately.
Because they don't speak it themselves.
And sometimes they find it humiliating to talk with their children in Kashmiri.
Such a horrible thing it is.
Such a horrible thing.
I used to go, if I went into a shop, after militancy and everything, I would speak in Kashmiri and I would be answered in Urdu. So I used to wonder why this is happening. So my husband used to get very upset with me. Tum kyun bolti ho? Why do you insist on speaking Kashmiri? It comes naturally to me. But then somebody told me, जी आपको पता है क्यों वो आपको उर्दू में जवाब देते हैं? कि वो समझते हैं कि आप समझती हैं कि उनको उर्दू नहीं आती.
अच्छा, तो उसमें एक इंफीरियरिटी सुपीरियरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स का तस्वीर करते हैं लोग.
अब क्या बताएं?
अगर मैं आपसे जाते जाते ये कहूँ कि और हाँ, साल का मेंशन तो मैं करना भूल गई, एक कुक बुक भी लिखी है
जी
जिसमें कश्मीरी जो कुजीन्स है, डिशेस है,
सारा
उनको
एक्चुअली
बताया
इट्स अ
है।
कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव थिंग
हाँ, which I was telling Nirja ji that I found this book in a library and I was thrilled to see it कि कश्मीरी खाने पीने का भी कहीं पर कोई जिक्र है। अगर मैं आपसे कहूँ नीरजा जी कि आप कोई सा भी अपना इसमें जो फेवरेट पोएट्री ट्रांसलेशन है।
शिव श्री थैली थैली रावजान Mauzan Henhuntu Musalman. Trukai Chuk Panun Ban Praznau. Soiche Sahiba Suidzaniza. It means simply that think of Shiva is the Supreme Lord as the sun, because it shines on everyone without distinction.
Irrespective of your
And
religion.
if you really want to understand who you are, you have to go through different levels of understanding. The simplest level of understanding is to see how the sun functions, because everybody can see that. Then the next level is don't know the difference, don't look at the difference between a Hindu and a Muslim. That is a higher level of understanding.
बिल्कुल।
And the final level of understanding, if you are a Trikite, if you are a believer in the Trik Shastra of
Philosophy.
Kashmir Shaivism, if you are a true adept, then know your own self first. That is the way you will know the Lord.
Absolutely.
And look at the syncretic kind of a vocabulary.
हाँ.
Sahib.
साहिब।
Sahib is not used by Shaivites.
जी।
Sahib is a particularly Muslim word.
And Urdu speaking population generally uses it.
हाँ,
जी।
बिल्कुल साहिब तो नहीं कहता है. So they look at this wonderful way in which it is woven in, the syncretism. So I don't think you can improve upon any kind of a spiritual poetry if you have read Laldet.
बिल्कुल।
It's the final word.
बिल्कुल।
Another thing of Laldet which I like very much is Dachinis obras zavron zanah, sudras zanah adin lart, menjis rugis vedut zanah, mudastajamna pavin ka. Did you understand?
बिल्कुल।
सारा समझ गई?
कुछ
Irony इसमें समझिए आप कि I could do the impossible.
Yeah.
Like I could make the clouds turn from one direction to another.
I could heal a leper.
I could heal a leper.
Right.
Or I could draw a bund over the sea. But I would never learn the art of convincing a fool.
बिल्कुल। इसी नोट पे I think
this is enough.
It was a wonderful conversation. बहुत मजा आया बात करते हुए आपसे, और
मुझे बहुत मजा आया।
बहुत पता नहीं चला कि हमने कितनी गुफ्तगू की और किस किस मौजू पे गुफ्तगू की। मैं बस यही उम्मीद करती हूँ, I believe and I hope that our audiences equally enjoy this conversation as much as we enjoyed having this conversation. Thank you very much. We'll come back again to you with another inspiring woman who definitely will inspire you as well.
Wonderful. That'd be lovely. I'm looking forward to that.
Ji.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All the best.